Alright guys, welcome to the finals of GPD. So the finalists are Nyx on an Observer of Aeon's deck. So it's enchantments. It's basically like Affinity, right? It's Affinity except your Affinity payoff is a Psychotog. I guess it's a Psychotog for artifacts and enchantments. Oh yeah, and Affinity is for artifacts and enchantments. Meanwhile, Scribble is on activated ability control. So it's just they have cards that it's a control deck that has enchantments that trigger whenever you activate an ability for the first time each turn. But I mean, otherwise it's just a control deck. So it's control versus a very fast deck. Looks like Nick's mulligan to 6, and I'm assuming they're keeping this. I don't think they want to go any further, and they already have they have two quote unquote lands because the rail lines are basically lands. I don't think Scribble has any artifact destruction, or at least cheap artifact destruction main deck in game 1. So I think they're like real lines are pretty safely just going to be lands, at least early. And also, Nyx has Aaron's Radical, which is a mana dork that lets you discard a card and then search for a expensive card, which in this case will be their Affinity payoff. And Nyx is thinking about keeps. If I was them, I would probably bottom a Ring of Souls maybe. I mean, so Unmarked Vials is 2 Affinity for 1 card. Unexplored Regions also gives you Affinity because it turns the land into an artifact. Cradle of Civilization actually grabs you a second land, so maybe that's actually quite good. Although you already have the rail line, so maybe you don't need it. And Nyx definitely keeps this, and then let's see what they bottom. Anyways, while Nyx is thinking, Scribble has Alibi experience early, so that deals with Affinity payoff creatures, and then some counter spells and some ways to draw cards. So pretty good hand for Scribble, but also pretty good hand for Nyx. And Nyx will bottom their rail line because I guess they already have Cradle of Civilization, so they don't need to risk playing out a rail line and getting it destroyed. And yeah, they start with Cradle of Civilization and grab a mountain for, I guess, Aaron's Radical next turn. And then Scribble draws Terraformers Club. Okay, that's a good turn 1 play. And fixes their mana cantrips and also lets Scribble have a free activated ability for their enchantments. I think the right play here is to just play out Island Terraformers Club on 1. There's no point in keeping up Alibi experience here, right? Like, yeah, your opponent has Aaron's Radical, but you're not really in a rush to kill it on 1 mana. And Shika's Redoubt. I don't think Nyx is much of a graveyard deck. Oh, here's Observe of Aeons, so that's Nyx's payoff. It's an 8 mana creature, but it has affinity for artifacts and enchantments. And then you can exile artifacts and enchantments from from field or from graveyard to pump it, and it's trample. So I mean, yeah, it's extremely scary, and it's what Scribble will be trying to ramp into. Or I mean, Nyx, yeah, what Nyx will be ramping into. And Explore Regions hits the field, so that gives Nyx. And Nyx also plays Unmarked Vials. Yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 affinity already. Observer only costs 3 right now. It's about to cost 2 if Ring of Souls makes it into play. And Ring of Souls also grants hexproof, so if Scribble taps out or something like that, then an Observer hits play and Nyx sticks a Ring of Souls on it, then I don't think Scribble has a way to answer it at all. They're just going to get wrecked by a 6/6. Scribble plays the land and passes, holding up the counter spell. Let's see if Nyx tries to play around the counter spell. I have to assume they do. So Nyx can play Aaron's Radical and fetch out another Observer. I'm not sure if they want to do that, but that's something they can do. They're going to play out Ring of Souls now. And Scribble can't really counter it. I mean, if Aaron's Radical ends up eating a Portal Fracture, I think Nyx is very happy about that because it clears a way for Observer of Aeons to hit and also get equipped by Ring of Souls. Next, oh, Scribble's still thinking about this. I mean, it makes sense because Ring of Souls makes Observer really scary because if Ring of Souls ever gets equipped onto Observer, Scribble can't deal with Observer anymore. So maybe Scribble just wants to use up the Portal Factor here to ensure that Observer is killable by L Body. And Scribble lets it resolve though. And are they running out Observer of Aeons into a known counterspell? That could be kind of scary. Okay, they are going to try. Oh, right. Observe only costs 1 mana right now because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, oh, 7. Right. Bastion is also enchantment, so yeah. Observer costs only 1 mana, which gets past Portal Fracture. Unfortunately, doesn't get past Alibi Experience, so that's going to be Observer number 1 dealt with. Nyx can still Aaron's Radical and try to Observer number 2 next turn. Yeah, Nyx is thinking about whether to attempt to equip the ring or not. And they will try to do that. And Scribble responds with Alibi Experience, exiling the Observer. I mean, that exchange worked out how we expected it to. I mean, the blue elemental can at least try to chip that Scribble a bit. It could matter because Observer sacks stuff to buff itself. So sometimes you have to basically scrounge up lethal and chipping your opponent down so that Observer can exact seize opponent is something that could be relevant. Anyways, Scribble draws Embodied Soul, so they could play Embodied Soul and hold up Portal Fracture. I mean, if they want to hold up Portal Fracture, they don't have anything other than playing out Embodied Soul. I think they want to hold up Portal Fracture. It's probably important enough to hold that thing up. Scribble plays out Magmat turn. Oh, they're going to not hold up Portal Fracture anymore. But they're going to try to get some Midnight Jury activations, which makes sense, I guess. So I guess they play up Embodied Soul, and then on the opponent's turn they can activate Terraformer's Globe and get their Midnight Jury activation. But that means that Nyx gets to resolve the Observer of Aeons, and I mean Scribble doesn't have anything that immediately deals with it, right? Especially if the Ring of Souls gets equipped. Scribble tops like a land, they can do that, right? They Aaron's Radical, well that's the land, but and it's not tapped, so yeah, they can do that. So they play Aaron's Radical, discard Aaron's Radical number 2, fetch out Observer. Well, actually, do they need to do that? If Aaron's Radical makes it into play, then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, then Observer becomes free. And they can just pitch its lid so that in the future, if they need to Observer again, they can still use Aaron number 2 to grab it. Yeah, Nyx is thinking, and they're going to discard Zilid, which makes sense. Let's see how Scribble deals with a hexproof unblockable Observer of Aeons, because I don't think they can deal with it. This thing's going to end the game in short order unless Scribble gets 2 removal spells, 1 for the ring and 1 for the Observer itself. Midnight Jury makes this thing tap, so yeah, Nyx can swing out with the Elemental pretty safely. And Scribble is making creatures, but I don't think creatures helps against an unblockable Observer of Aeons. And Scribble probably really regretting tapping out this turn. If they had Portal Fracture, they could have stopped this from happening, but they didn't, so they didn't do that, and yeah, now they're suffering. Well, I mean, is Observer lethal right now? Nyx currently has what? They have 1 thing in graveyard and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things in play. So that's like 13 damage in total. So Observer won't kill this turn, but it definitely will be able to kill next turn after softening up Scribble from whacking them for 6. Scribble kind of needs to. I think they do need to play Terraformer's Globe here just to look for an answer. They don't really have that many options right now. No, they can attack with Embodied Soul and gain life, which might sort of delay Observer from killing them. Yeah, Scribble. Oh, they're going to activate Midnight Jury. Interesting time to do it, but sure, I guess. And they're going to play a Johnny. Use a Johnny to draw cards or use a Johnny to untap, because I think they really need to start digging. I mean, they get a Johnny Plus to untap some land and play Terraformer's Globe number 2. I don't see why they activated Terraformer's Globe, because the Johnny would have been enough to activate Midnight Jury. And it's not like they're... Oh, right, it prevents them from losing 1 life, I guess, from State Tundra. Anyways, here's Terraformer's Globe, and I guess Embodied Soul can still be activated. Scribble can swing in with Embodied Soul to go up to 20 life. Maybe that's worth it. If they swing out with everything, it does knock Nyx down to some amount of life totals. I'm not exactly sure what, but they could try to race. And okay, they are going to try out. They are going to swing out right now, leaving back the Black Spirit to, I guess, block the Aaron's Radical. And Nyx doesn't really need to do much right now, right? They can just swing with Observer at their own pace. No way Embodied Soul outgains the Observer. Fashion Shapelin. Okay, that's even more stuff for Observer of Aeons. Like, maybe Nyx has a backup plan for if Observer isn't enough, so they might just Aaron Radical right now and grab something else. Oh, they're doing math. Right, they need to math out if Observer is lethal right now. From what I can tell, I don't think it is lethal, but Bastion Chaplin puts 3 rectangles into play, so maybe that changes the math. And Scribbl is actually tapped out, so Ring of Souls is also safe to sacrifice. But then we're looking at like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, or 8, yeah, 8 things, and then 9 from the jellyfish. Oh, well, Nyx is going for it, it seems like. Nyx plays Aaron's Echo. Is there something that lets them win the game here? Scribbl is going to make a tap spirit, which doesn't change the math at all. They discard Bastion Chaplin. So what's Nyx looking up right now? Underhanded deal. Huh. So Nyx plays Underhanded deal to draw 3 cards. How does that help them? Well, I mean, they get another free observer, I guess. And Scribbl has no board wipes main deck, so I don't think Nyx loses anything from playing the observer. Okay, seems like Nyx realized that they can't win this turn. But they're still in a great position right now. Observer's still unkillable, so they just need to swing with Observer at Scribbl and see what happens. They are going to play Observer number 2. I mean, that thing unfortunately doesn't have a second ring, so that thing is vulnerable to removal, but like now the opponent's staring down 2 observers, and they need to kill both before they do lethal to the opponent. I think you're just supposed to swing with the unblockable observer, just whack the opponent down, and then think about what to do next turn, or leave stuff around for next turn. Okay, Nyx is playing out Forest. Can't do anything with the mana, but might as well play it out, and then they're swinging out with Observer. And probably the Jellyfish too, just to get some extra chip damage down. And with Aaron's Manaquote just runs into the Spirit. I don't think it's worth swinging with. Although I guess he gets the Spirit off the board. I'm not sure what that's worth. So I guess it means that the second Observer has less chump blockers. And it's not like the Aaron's Miracle is going to be that useful. Although Nyx can exile the Aaron's Miracle to get 1 extra damage through. Yeah, because these guys are extra damage for Observer, so maybe it's no. Oh, if it dies, it goes into the graveyard, which means that the Observer can still eat it. So yeah, that. Oh, and Nyx is going to use the Observer right now, just to chew up just pump out all the damage right now before the opponent can interact with the graveyard, which seems pretty clever to do, I guess. That knocks Scribbl down to 10. Which puts him at risk from just dying to Observer swing number 2, right? They need to keep back, I think Scribbl definitely needs to keep back all their spirits for the blockable Observer. And wait, Nyx is going to sack their Vial right now. Interesting. They find Avatar of Innovations. Can they cast this right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yeah, they can definitely cast it right now. They probably want to cast it right now, honestly. Yeah, it's a big thing that grabs back Aaron's Radical, and Scribbl manages to shoot Kaiser without it, so that's cool, I guess. Although that's, yeah, not that useful. I mean, Heavenly Egg Feather shuffles away the Ring of Souls. Well, not shuffles away, but gets rid of the Ring of Souls, so the observers become blockable, but Scribbl still doesn't have enough blockers for them, I don't think. Like that, so that's 12 damage at base, swinging at Scribbl's face, so they need at least 3 toughness worth of chumpers, which I guess they do after Embodied Soul does stuff. Yeah, Midnight Rage still makes tap tokens, so they won't be useful until next turn. And then you also have to deal with all these random creatures still swinging in, so like they need to also be chumped. And Bastion Chaplin putting 3 rectangles into play makes the observers much scarier. Actually, I think Scribbl wants to 0 Ajani right now. They need to draw more cards. Does Nyx let Scribbl draw a card? I don't think they do, because Scribbl needs to find an answer. Meanwhile, Nyx doesn't really need more cards. They have the win right now if Scribbl doesn't have the answer. Wait, Nyx had lethal. Where? Did they have lethal? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not lethal, right? That's like 7 extra damage. You're 7, 8. Like you're still 10 damage short, right? Unless you Bastion Chaplin. Did they play Bastion Chaplin instead of the Aaron's line? I don't think. Did Nyx have lethal? Like, Bastion. They wouldn't have drawn extra cards, so like we wouldn't know. Because I mean those are extra cards. Yeah, I'm not going to bother doing the math. Nyx is the one playing the deck, so they get to do the math. And meanwhile, Scribbl's doing a lot of math too, trying to think about how to not die here. I still think Scribbl wants a Johnny 0. Yeah, Johnny 0. Nick says no draw. Scribble draws a counter spell, which is completely useless right now. So now, yeah, Scribble has to contend with. I think they're just forced to run out Hemley Egg Feather and then Mines on the Soul of Rings, or Ring of Souls, just to make these guys blockable again, and then hope that Nyx doesn't have enough math to kill the opponent. Or actually, it might so it can gain vigilance, right? So it can swing in and put Scribble up to 13 and then still block for 3 more next turn, or on the opponent's turn, which gives Scribble basically 9 virtual life, which is quite good. I think that's what Scribble has to do here. Although Scribble still isn't out of the woods after making that play, because they still need to find some way to deal with observers. I mean, Scribble has removal in their deck somewhere, so they just need to find it, but they need to throw away a bunch of creatures in front of these guys just to... actually, Hemley can perma-tap one of the observers, I guess. Or not perma-tap, but like just tap down one of the observers. And it's not like the Ring of Souls isn't coming. It's still going to return in a bit. And then that's going to be... Well, that's just going to get countered by Portal Factor, but that's in a few turns. The best bet for Scribble right now is to swing with Embodied Soul, and then also block with Embodied Soul, because that puts the most toughness on table. Toughness plus life. Just, most survivability on the table. And like next turn, Nyx is swinging in for 12. They need to start sacking stuff to Observer, and like they actually don't have that much stuff to sack to it. I think Scribble can live through one more turn. No, Scribble's also going to swing with... No, they're not going to swing with creatures. And of course, the best play for Nyx is to play Bash and Chaplain and then run everything at face. Blackwell's Edge. I guess that's one more enchantment for the observers. Now let's see if Nyx gives Scribble a data point. Seems like they do, which I guess sort of makes sense because Nyx can better use the data point than Scribble can. In fact, this will let Nyx draw the Ring of Souls and play it and equip it through a Portal Fracture. In fact, yeah, Ring of Souls is just going to land because, so Scribble can counter this, but Nyx can just pay for it and then still have enough mana left over to equip it to one of the observers, and then that's game over. If Scribble has Alibi experience, Nyx can try to equip twice, and that's also game over. So yeah, I think Nyx just wins this. Or do they win this? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, it's Xaxes. Okay, that's Xaxes. So Scribble wins, or I mean, Nyx wins over Scribble. Yeah, Scribble has no instant speed life gain, so it's not like Nyx doesn't have to play around that. On one mana, the only thing Scribble can really do here is the only instant speed thing at 1 mana is the Cosmic Sinkles and the Alibi experiences. So, like, if Scribble had Alibi, they would have used it on Observer already, so I think Nyx can pretty safely put Scribble on not on Alibi, so in that case, yeah, they can just sack their entire board and kill Scribble, and Scribble concedes. Alright, so yeah, that was game 1. Let's look at sideboarding. So, Scribble probably want to bring in the Setting Sun, because a board wipe would have been really good there. They probably want to bring in more L-Bodies. Spell Pierce could be useful, but all of Nyx's actual threats are creatures which aren't hit by Spell Pierce, so I don't think Spell Pierce is worth bringing in. Scribble probably just brings in L-Body and Setting Sun, and still Pandemonium. Just see what I said for Spell Pierce. Nyx's big threats are all creatures that can't be countered by Spell Pierce or still the Pandemonium. And on Nyx's side, they probably want... Actually, yeah, they probably want Shizen. That thing gives the Observer of Aeon's Hexproof, which is really nice. Although, again, Scribble gets to bring in board wipes now, so maybe that's not the best plan, but it does protect their observers for quite a bit. And other than that, they got Glistening Chalice, which I don't think is worth much. Or maybe it is. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with this matchup, so I'm just saying random things right now. I have to admit, this deck has lots of interesting synergies I really like. I like how the way that the deck's built. I like that it has Shizen in the sideboard as a way to beat artifact destruction. Like this card was vital in getting this deck to win against Burn, because Burn had smoldering pages, I remember, if I remember correctly. Where was the matchup? Here. No, that wasn't the matchup. Yeah, this was the matchup. So like Epin had smoldering pages in the sideboard, which would have absolutely demolished Observe Aeons being at 8 cost. But then next match drew their seasons in that game, and then Observers were unkillable, so then that beat Burn up pretty nicely. And game 2 is underway. Scribbl is going to be on the play this time, and they have a hand with no 1-drop. They have Hemley Egg Feather. Oh, Mirrorgate could be useful. I mean, it turns off... Yeah, Mirrorgate turns off the enchantmentness of some of the lands. Meanwhile, Nyx gets a hand with a bunch of wildlife sketches and nothing else. So this could go horribly wrong if the wildlife sketches ends up whiffing. But otherwise, the hand's still not the best, but yeah, Nyx still keeps it. So here is turn 1 Mirrorgate. Let's see if Scribbl names the correct land. I guess the most obvious land to name is Bastion. And yeah, they do name Bastion. Oh, that's a lot of Bastions that are getting Mirrorgated. Next plays out Forest. Huh, interesting. I still would have played out Bastion because it technically mana fixes. So let's see if Wildlife Sketch manages to hit anything. And it hits Observer of Aeons. But next takes Observer over Aaron's Radical, which I guess is interesting because I feel like if I was in this situation, I would have taken Aaron's Radical because you're not playing Observer next turn, right? So you might as well play Aaron's Radical and get something on board. I mean, you have all this extra lands that are useless right now. Like just play out Aaron's Radical, discard one of your Bastions to fetch out Observer. I guess Nyx's next turn could be Unmarked Vials and Wildlife Sketches. Anyway, Scribble taps out for Midnight Jury on turn 2 because they're not holding up any counter spells. Nyx fetches and grabs Mountain. I'm assuming the third Wayfarer Shrine's fetching Swamp. And here's Wildlife Sketches. Let's see if it flips anything. And this one whiffs. Yeah, this is why I wasn't a huge fan of not grabbing Aaron's Radical, because at least that play gives you a guaranteed thing on board. Scribble draws Portal Fracture, and now they can play out with Spiritual Guidance. They can also hold up Portal Fracture. The Magmatic Torrent fetch will trigger Midnight Jury, and then after that, I guess they just play out Spiritual Guidance, or actually, yeah, I think they should just hold up Portal Fracture. Well, they're going to play out Spiritual Guidance. So if Nyx finds anything, they can underhand a deal. Got free right now. 1, 2. It still costs a bit. Bastion's getting Mirrorgate really hurts here because otherwise Observer would have been free right now, or at least 1 mana right now, or castable at least. No, Nyx actually has to play fair for once. Underhanded deal still draws them 3 cards at least. Oh, they're going to play Chagall, and no, they're going to play underhanded deal. So Nyx is probably hoping that underhanded deal digs them out of this, or wherever it could be, and it draws them into more cards. That makes Observe of Aeons cheaper. Scribble draws another Spiritual Guidance, which means they're still lacking a land play. So Scribble can Hemley and they can play Hemley to get an activate ability to get these guys triggered, and they might draw them into a land which they need to hold up Portal Fracture. But if it doesn't, well, actually they can Hemley -3, and that probably guarantees a land somewhat. It's not like Hemley has a good target right now. They're going to Hemley Shuffle and did not find a land, or no, they're resolving the triggers, and now Hemley's ability resolves, right? They should just put back. Okay, they put back Spiritual Guidance and finds land they need. Okay, that's great because now they can play out Magmatic Torrent and then fetch on the opponent's turn, so to trigger these guys again, and that still lets them hold up Portal Fracture. Uncharted Regions. Oh, here's Blackwell's Edge. Does Nyx make the data point? Seems like they don't. Nyx tries to play Bastion Chaplain. Let's see if Scribble counters this. Nyx is actually probably pretty happy if Scribble does counter it, because that eats up a counter spell for some more important cards. And also tap Scribble out Elbai for a turn. Although Scribble can just untap and Elbai the Observer, so it doesn't really matter in the end. What matters is that Nyx is starting to run out of stuff. Or actually, 1, 2, okay, yeah, so something that Nyx can do right now is, since Observer is free, is to activate Wildlife Sketches the first mode and then pass the turn, and then flash an observer at the end of the opponent's turn. And that lets it play around removal spells and counter spells, but looks like Nyx isn't going to do that. And now that's it. Yeah, that thing's just going to get out-bodied. Does Nyx have follow-up after this? I don't think they do. I guess they can use wildlife sketches. No, they can't. Like, they can sack Bash and Chapelin, but they have no 3-drops to fetch. No, they can fetch into Isu's masterpiece. Never mind, they're actually quite good right now. Oh, and now they activate wildlife sketches. Yeah, I think you should have done it. I think it's because Nick saw the free observer and played it, and then realized, oh, I don't have anything else to do with my mana, so I should activate this guy. But yeah, I feel like Nick definitely should have activated this thing first, and then held up the observer on their opponent's turn. Like, end of turn observer is really, really scary. Well, at least Intetsu's masterpiece will be follow-up for the observer, and it will still be just as scary. And the observer is probably going to eat up the underhanded deal, just so that Nick stops losing so much life to it. And also a reminder that Hemley Egg Feather exists, so that thing could be. Then Trident kills wildlife sketches, I guess, and then L Body kills Observer. Definitely want to exile Observer instead of killing it, because Scribbl and also Avatar of Innovations, like, there's lots of ways to get Observer back from the yard, so you definitely want to get rid of it forever. Emily is going to shuffle away the top 2 the Observer. Interesting. I mean, the thing is, Observer, like, putting the 2 cards down isn't that far away. Nyx is going to draw that thing soon, especially if with the amount of cantrip artifacts that Nyx has, like underhanded region or unexplored regions. That draws Observer right there and then. It also makes the mana fixing good, but and here's a Johnny 5s goes up to 5. Scribble could just getting out of range of Nyx being able to one-shot them. The spirits are whacking Nyx down pretty quickly. Oh, order module giving the spirits an anthem would probably end the game. And Scribbl for what? I guess observer, but like, are you going to mill observers? Because all of Scribbl's removal is exile based, right? And they're still losing life to underhanded deals. Scribble cracks Wayfarer Shrine, which activates the enchantment. Triggers the enchantment. That's a lot of Portal Fractures. I don't see why Scribble would want to Portal Fracture this, because Scribble's doing nothing right now. I guess technically it's card draw, so Scribble doesn't want Nyx to draw a card right now. And Nyx is going to fight back? What? Oh, right, there. Forgot that it can't be countered. Well, now you play Unexplored Regions and draw the card. Technically you can also play Intetsu's Masterpiece. Oh, they're attacking with Bish and Chaplain at Johnny. I don't see what that's doing, because I don't think Nyx is ever going to be killing a Johnny in this game. And a Johnny plussing doesn't really matter here. The Johnny doesn't have an ult, so I don't see why it needs to be killed, but sure. And they just pass. I guess they're planning to flash an Intetsu's Masterpiece. That's another Spiritual Guidance. I suspect Spiritual Guidance, Johnny Plus, and an Order Module could be a good play here. Or if they want to keep up all their stuff, I guess they play out Order Module. The Order Module costs too much. They play Order Module and then plus Johnny to keep up Portal Fracture plus L Body. And then they're going to plus Johnny. Yep, makes sense. Get the cards drawn, get the tokens made, and that's a Terraformers Globe. Yeah, they still just play Order Module here and swing for almost lethal. That actually makes Underhanded Deal kill Nyx in like 3 spells, which is kind of funny. Like, Nyx definitely should have gotten rid of the Underhanded Deal when the Observer was out, because this is going to end up killing Nyx. Here's Order Module, and they're going to actually kill Wildlife. Interesting. Well, if Nyx wants to flash in something, they should do it now into the Portal Fracture. But that's one less Portal Fracture going towards Observer of Aeons that's coming out next turn. It seems like Scribble is debating between counter spells or L Body. I would still lean towards counter spells, just because L Body can happen anytime, but counter spells have to happen now when the opponent's tapped out. And yep, there's a counter spell. And yep, there's the swing, and Nyx concedes. It looks like we're going to game 3 to decide the winner. And yep, so that's game 3. And let's see, opening hand, Nyx doesn't have a 1-drop, but they keep anyways. Meanwhile, Scribble has to, oh, this is pretty good for Scribble. They have a curve, and they have removal. So Scribble also keeps. Well, I mean, at least both players don't have super ideal hands. I think Scribble actually has a better hand here, but Nyx could get there if they draw what they need. I mean, the hand looks kind of weak. Oh, Aaron's Radical. Okay, that immediately makes the hand a lot better. Although, actually, no. Nyx can't cast Aaron's Radical on curve. They just have to play Bastion Chaplain. But they're definitely casting Aaron's Radical next turn. That's Terraformer's Globe. Scribble still doesn't have any counter spells. They can play Terraformer's Globe, but they can't play both. They can play Terraformer's Globe and swing with Embodied Soul. I guess you can also Hemley minus on the Bastion Chaplain. That I don't think that's useful enough. That's not good use of Hemley. I mean, they can also Hemley minus to draw. I still think that's bad too. So best play here is, oh, they're going to Hemley. And they're going to Hemley minus to the Bastion Chaplain. It does get shuffled away, but again, like Bastion Chaplain's main power doesn't come from the body. Here's Cradle of Stabilization. So Bastion is going to cast Cradle of Stabilization, giving Nyx perfect mana now. And let's see what Aaron's Radical fetches up, because Aaron kind of needs to find something good. Otherwise, because Nyx doesn't have anything else great in hand. They're going to pitch the plains, and let's see what they grab. They grab another Observer of Aeons. So I guess their plan here is to just get the opponent with a bunch of Observers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Nyx is at 6 enchantments, so Observers still cost 2. They can play out both Observers next turn by spending all their mana. Scribble, meanwhile, can answer 2 Observers, probably. They Hemley minus 1. I guess they tap down one of them and then out of body the other one. Actually, no, they can Lola's Baron's they can Lola's Baron's Blackwell's Edge, and that puts Nyx down 2 enchantments. Like, that's a pretty heads up play that they could make. But it seems like they're not making it because they don't have the mana to do it anymore. It seems like their plan here is to go the distance with Embodied Soul. This is also a decent time to play out Bustling Harbor. You don't need the mana right now, so might as well play it out now and hold up the out-of-body experience for the Observer of Aeons. I feel like Aaron's Radical should have fetched Underhanded Deal. Like, Nyx really needs the extra cards right now. 2 Observers. I mean, does 2 Observers even get there? It's scary, but I don't think it gets there. They definitely need more fuel. Oh, they boarded in Glistening Chalice. Interesting. Oh, they can play out Glistening Chalice now and make life kind of difficult for their opponent next turn. And that's what they do, it seems like. And that also makes the Observe Aeons free, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Observer costs 1 mana, and the second one costs 0 mana. The Glistening Chalice enters play. And they're going to sack Wayfarer Shrine now to fetch out another forest. Do they not have swamps in their deck anywhere? Oh, interesting. I find their basic choices interesting. I guess they're just hoping that Bastion always can cast the Underhanded Deals. Oh, the reason they didn't grab Underhanded Deal was because they're like on 0 artifacts right now. They're on all enchantments, kind of. It seems like Nyx is thinking about whether they want to play around board wipes or not. And they decide not to play around board wipes, seems like. They're they're going to attack with Aaron's on Hemley, I'm assuming. Yeah, they're testing if Scribble decides to activate Embodied Soul. And Scribble lets it through because they need to hold up a body. I feel like this play would have been more effective if Nyx played the Observers after attacking, because even if Aaron dies, can Nyx still play out 2 Observers if that happens? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Aaron dies, and then they still have 2 mana on tap, so the 6th one, okay, they can't play out both if they do that. So yeah, Scribble has 3 lands in hand. Not the best time to keep drawing lands like this. They probably just want to play a Johnny, or they can play Spiritual Guidance and hope to draw into stuff. They can play Spiritual Guidance and hold up Embodied Soul. Embodied Soul being a 4/4 lifelinker is pretty effective at gaining Scribble life, I guess. And it seems like they're playing Spiritual Guidance. Yep. And let's see if Scribble decides to attack with Embodied Soul. Seems like they will attack with it. So that puts Scribble up to 25 life after this. And Nyx has 1 turn to kill with Observer, which is impossible right now because Observer can't exactly kill from when the opponent's at 25 and you don't actually have a board. And now Nyx makes, I'm assuming they make enchantments. Non-artifacts cost more. yeah, they decide to use the stacks mode of Blessing Chalice, and the lid's not useful right now. I mean, technically it's Scries, but well, it is a bunch of non-lands, but Nyx can't access it this turn. Nyx is just going to swing out and do as much damage as possible before Scribble stabilizes. Scribble decides to draw a card with Spiritual Guidance, and they draw Hemley Hagfeather. Nyx passes, and let's see what Scribble finds this turn. More Spiritual Guidances. I mean, if Nyx wants a chance, I guess that's probably not a horrible draw to ask for. Spiritual Guidances aren't very useful when you're not drawing to answers, and making everything cost more makes sequencing these card advantage engines a bit more awkward. You know, so Spiritual Guidance does have an activated ability that lets you tap creatures. You could just hold back and keep using Spiritual Guidance on Observer Aeons to keep it tapped down. And they're going to get the Spiritual Guidance draws first. They find an Hemley Hagfeather. And they're going to play out Hemley Hagfeather and get rid of the Observer Aeons. So the funny thing is, the lead actually just lets Nyx redraw the Observer. So I'm actually not sure if that's what they want right now, because they do need a way to deal with the Embodied Soul. Not that I don't think Nyx has a way to deal with Embodied Soul. They're activating Scry with Zalid. Oh, they bond Ring of Souls. And that's Observer of Aeons. I do wonder though, like they play Observe Aeons and the opponent's forced to deal with it again, I guess. But Embodied Soul is a 3-turn clock, and Scribble has another Hemley Hagfeather, so I mean, yeah. Scribble activates Embodied Soul to get some extra draws off Spiritual Guidance, and Scribble draws Wayfarer Shrine. Not that it matters at this point. Oh, that's Monument Queens. So the play here is, you can just freeze Observer Aeons with Hemley. That's probably a better play than doing anything else. I mean, it makes the opponent, yeah, you can just wait on dealing with Observer. And Nyx sees the writing on the wall and just concedes. Yeah, I don't think they're beating this. And with that, Scribble has won this month's MSEM GP. That leaves them 2 GP wins in a row. Yay. This is probably Nyx's deck slash showing, because Observer is definitely getting changed after this month. So good that the deck managed to make it to the finals, but seems like it still got trumped by Scribble on control. Anyways, yeah, that's everything. So I guess see you next month for the next GP.